So I like to keep things because I'm a very busy mom and I know that all moms are very busy. I like to keep it simple, doable, very manageable, and not overwhelming because I know I get overwhelmed very easily. And when you throw exercises, not just like exercise for fun, but like you need to do these, like physical therapy, like a prescription, when you throw that into the mix, you just get like these glassy eyes back. Like, when am I supposed to do this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to fix myself, but I don't know. I don't have time.
Right.
So that's another thing I kind of throw in there is my understanding of how busy we are. And like little things, little life changes can make huge differences.
So feel me when I bring it, sing it loud. I'm from the Lou and I'm proud, run a mile for the cause. I'm right.
Hi,
Okay.
guys. This is your girl Nechama, your favorite Jew from the Lou. Welcome back to my podcast. And today I am so excited to have Elisa Travis with me. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's crazy that you're here. I appreciate you so much because I literally just texted you last night and was like, "So, what are you doing tomorrow?"
And because it's a snow day, it
Yeah.
was a snow day, so we had a whole change of schedule, so I was able to make it.
Yeah,
So,
it's meant to be. I'm a big believer in like timing with my guests. Sometimes it could be up to 6 months to a year before they get on. Sometimes it's 24 hours. It
that's right.
literally just it happens when it's supposed to.
Yep.
And we just met
We
recently.
did.
So the name
Like,
Travis was familiar to me because your husband is my mom's boss,
right.
essentially.
And your mom was my daughter's teacher.
Yeah. So the thing is that I had never met you officially. I knew of you. And then my dad died. So we were sitting Shiva and you and your husband came and like it's listen, I'm a very like positive person and I'm also the kind of person that doesn't do well with like sad morbid situations. My coping mechanism is humor.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of trying to be the belle of the ball and joke with people when they came. But then when you came, I just like a heart feels a heart. I
Yep.
immediately connected with
Connected
you.
right away. Yep.
Yeah. And then people were like, "What can we do for you?" And I said, "Invite us over for Shabbos." And you guys
And then I
immediately
met your
did.
mom. You don't even know the background because I met
Yeah.
your mom at the week before, sitting in front of someone's house because they
Yeah.
weren't home. And she was just sitting there, and you weren't there because you didn't want to come.
Yeah.
And I invited her right on the spot for the next week. So
Yeah.
that's how it happened.
Yeah. And it was a snow day too. It
Yep,
had
it
started
was.
snowing.
Yep.
And my mom's like, "We gotta go. We gotta go." And I was like, you know what? I
She was
like
so
her. I'll
excited.
go.
I was so excited. Yeah.
Yeah. And it
So,
was just so much fun just talking with you. And then now we're going to be doing a little bit of business together. I'm
yeah.
going to be helping promote your business and help you grow.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit into who you are and what you do. So you're a physical
I am a
therapist.
physical therapist. I graduated in 1993, ages and
Mm-hmm.
ages ago. Um, and I graduated from the University of Maryland in Baltimore. And I worked on and off for the last 30 years in different states, different countries. Got a lot of different experience in different areas. But most recently, I started specializing in women's health, specifically pelvic floor issues,
Yeah,
which we can talk about.
absolutely.
So,
I'm curious to know, going a little bit backwards
yeah.
though, like what was it about physical therapy of all the careers you could have gone into?
Right. It's so funny. Like most people, most physical therapists have some type of like inspiration, like either
Mm-hmm.
they were a patient and they had needed therapy, or they're very into sports and they saw maybe like a physical therapist working on their team or something like that. Even though I do have a background a little bit as a dancer, and I was always into like gross motor and like big movements and things like that. I actually was not planning to become a physical therapist when I was starting college. I was actually going to become an occupational therapist, which is close,
Yeah.
but it's different. And when I started volunteering and kind of observing in a local hospital near my house, in the occupational therapy department, so the occupational therapist that I was shadowing, she started showing me some like adaptive equipment, like I remember it was a like a chess game or a checkers game or something, and if someone doesn't have like the grasp that they need with their fingers, they like adapted the pieces so that it was like a loop. So they just had to like stick their finger in and lift the pieces up.
Oh,
And it was cool, except that I was not interested in that at all
okay.
because I am not a crafty person. I cannot even draw a stick figure, literally. And it just happened to be talk about, fate and hand of God. There are
Yeah.
so many things that occupational therapists do that could have been interesting to me, but that was the one thing that I saw, and it totally did not interest me.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of like fateful, and I was like, I really don't like this kind of stuff. And then down the hall was the physical therapy gym. And I kept getting distracted and looking down the hall and seeing like parallel bars. And the therapist was like walking somebody down the bars and teaching them how to walk. And I was like,
It's incredible.
that is so much more my speed. And
Mm-hmm.
right then and there, I switched. In my head, I was like, I'm going to be a PT.
I
And
feel like
that's how it
that's
happened.
powerful,
Yeah.
just that moment where you're just like called towards something
Yeah,
and you
it
feel like
was like
this is me.
yeah, it was just like a moment of clarity,
Yeah.
and it really changed the whole direction of my life.
And
So,
honestly, what a blessing. Because
yeah,
sometimes people don't get that clarity and they kind of just go along with a job just because they need something,
right.
you know?
So,
So to find something you love is
so
really
that was really
incredible.
that was really cool. And at that time, in my circles, being an Orthodox Jewish female,
Mm-hmm.
um, basically nobody was going into that field. Like
Really?
occupational therapy, speech therapy, those were like super common, which was why I chose OT at first. I was going to be in a program with other girls and it was going to be fun and we'd have like
Yeah.
kind of similar types of people to study with, but I really forged my own path. So when I went to University of Maryland, I was out of like 62 students in my year, there were 3 Jews,
Wow.
and of the 3, only one was Orthodox, and that was me. So they had never had anybody like me ever in the history of the
Yeah.
program, and it's a really, really old program.
Was that
So
challenging?
very challenging. I could do like
Yeah.
a whole podcast just on my school, my 2 years of schooling,
Yeah.
or 4 years, but 2 years of PT school. It was very challenging because I was very, dedicated to
Your
observing
religion.
everything to the
Yeah.
letter. And even it's just crazy, but my rabbi, our family rabbi, he happened to also be a um, law professor, a law school professor
Okay.
at the same campus where I went to school.
So you can really
So
go
his
to him.
office was like on my campus. So anytime I
Wow.
needed anything, had questions, had challenges, I would just go to his office. So he was
Your guardian
kind of like
angel.
my guardian angel. He actually helped me. I
Yeah.
could talk about this story. It was really, really fascinating because I did have some teachers who gave me a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few things that were a little bit different than I needed some exceptions to some things. And there were a couple of teachers who I don't want to label, but they smelled a little bit of anti-Semitism. I don't want
Yeah.
to like assume anything, but either that or they just didn't want anybody to have any exceptions in their class. They were kind of like, this is my way or the highway type. Um, so, I politely said, okay, well, let's set up a meeting with my rabbi and he can explain it to you. So
Yeah.
we did. And because he was right there on campus, it worked.
Amazing.
So, my rabbi, Yitzhak Breitowitz, he's the most unbelievable person. He came into the room and it was me and him and like maybe 8 faculty members, a little bit intimidating, and I had just started the
Yeah.
program. So I was like, a little bit nervous. Um,
How old were you at this time?
I was, I would say like 21.
So you're really
So I was
little.
young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I knew that he was going to take care of me because he's so brilliant. But not only is he brilliant, he's so compassionate and like people just like melt when he talks because he's brilliant and he's so nice. So
Yeah.
I just knew like I didn't have to say anything and he would just sort of take care of me. And so that's what happened. I mean, when we first started, there was like an air of like kind of animosity or, like, who is this rabbi who's going to talk to me, like I'm the big
Yeah.
professor and I've been doing this for 20 years and
Hmm.
and I remember just sitting in my chair kind of smirking to myself, like thinking like, just you wait till he opens his mouth. And he did. He opened his mouth.
Yeah.
He spoke beautifully. I don't even remember what he said, but it just cleared the air. And after that, I had some issues still. Things still came up, but I never had to have that type of meeting again. It was very clear that I'm not budging from my position and you have to accommodate me. And that's
Right.
what happened. So
Yeah.
lots of thanks to Rabbi Breitowitz, who's now in Israel and is lighting up the world with his brilliance and compassion and sensitivity to others. So,
It's really
yeah,
amazing because you're not the first person. And I've had my own experiences when I was in college where, like, and I'm sure no matter whoever is listening to this, no matter what your religious background is, it can get tricky.
yeah,
And then you're stuck with wanting to be a professional and pursue your goals, get your career, do well. But then, like, there's that inner struggle of
yeah,
like, how do I fit into this world
yeah,
while at the same time maintaining my personal
yeah,
values?
yeah, yeah,
And then sometimes for people, especially if grew up in an Orthodox Jewish world, you're
mm,
very insular. So
yes.
it's a huge culture shock, even though maybe you grew up American, growing and then going to
Yeah,
like
but
a
I was
college.
very sheltered. As a matter of fact, I'll
Yeah.
tell you one really quick story. My very, very, very first college class, like on a campus, it was, a couple years before physical therapy school, was just doing my prerequisites. It was a history class, and it was University of Maryland, a different campus. It was a huge campus, like the real deal college. Okay, I came straight out of an all girls, tiny little high school,
Mm-hmm.
and a year in Israel with 100 some Orthodox girls, and I just overheard some of the students in my classroom talking about a party that they were going to be going to. Of course, I wasn't involved. I had no interest whatsoever, but I was just sort of listening in. They were talking about this party, and they kept calling it a cake party. That's what my ears heard.
A cake.
A
As
cake
in, like,
party.
that's
And
hilarious.
I'm thinking like, that sounds like it's a birthday party because they're gonna have cake, but like, why call it a cake party? Why not call it a birthday party? And I was
That's so wholesome.
so confused. I was literally distracted the whole class because I was trying to think about what were they saying? Maybe they weren't
Yeah.
saying cake. And then it all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, oh, they weren't saying cake, they were saying keg.
Yeah, like a beer
Oh, it's a
party.
beer drinking party. Okay, that makes a
Yeah.
lot more sense. But like,
Yeah.
that's where I was coming from. Like I had no idea what a keg party was. I just sort
Totally.
of put two and two together. I was like, it
Yeah.
can't be a cake party. It doesn't make any sense.
There was
So
something
that's how
when
sheltered I was.
No, it's totally. I relate to that so much because I didn't take a gap year to go to seminary. I went straight to college. But I remember going from being like in this very insular world where like cursing was not a part of schooling at all.
Right.
That was a big culture shock to
Yeah.
me. It's not that I hadn't been aware of cursing. I wasn't like that insular, but it was just the community, the people that I hung around for the most part.
Right.
There's exceptions, but
Except for some slips here and there.
right. But for
Yeah.
the most part, that's not just how we talk, right? If anything, so it was just like, but that was just every other word. And I
Yeah.
remember I almost had difficulty even like understanding the classes at some point because whether it was the professors or the students,
Right.
like that was such a shock to me.
Yes. No, it's very different. And also, once I got to physical therapy school, we had one professor who would start off every single one of his classes with a dirty joke. It's a totally inappropriate but joke. Okay. And it just kind of, for everyone else, it was like funny. It kind of like calmed everyone down, just kind of, set the tone for like, okay, everybody pay attention.
Yeah, they're all probably like, oh, this is the cool
And I was
professor.
like, oh my gosh, here it goes again. So I had this lab partner who was kind of my lab partner for 2 years. We became very, very close. Whole interesting
Hmm.
story with her too. But um she knew like a lot about me because I had told her because we studied a lot together. And for my birthday, which came pretty soon in the beginning of the year, it's in the fall, she gave me a pair of earplugs. She gave me a pair of earplugs to plug up my ears for the dirty jokes. I thought that was hilarious.
That was really
That's so
thoughtful.
nice of her.
Yeah.
She's like, this is for my nice Jewish friend, so she won't hear the jokes.
No, it's true.
So, yeah.
Obviously there's always going to be some resistance, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of people are very like respectful, accommodating, and sometimes are actually like in awe of you for like sticking to your values and your
Right.
morals, you know?
Right.
So when you left college
Yeah.
and then went into like the real world, if
Yeah.
you will,
Yes.
did you find that it was still just as hard of an adjustment, or at that point was it easier?
No, it was definitely easier. My first job actually was so nice because it was in New York, and there were two other Orthodox females. One was younger, one was a little bit older in my department. So we kind of were a team together. We were friendly. It was just so nice because I'd never had that when I was in school. So it was like for me, it was just nice to have people like me.
Yeah.
And also it was in Methodist Hospital in Brooklyn. So my boss, who was a PT, was actually a very religious Methodist,
Oh,
and
wow.
they had like Bible study at lunch, and he totally understood all my needs and my holidays, and it was so nice. It was like so much easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt like
Yeah,
the schooling was the worst, was the most difficult
for
part.
sure.
Yeah.
So then when did you decide to become a specialist?
So fast forward a long time. I mean, we went to Israel for a few years. I worked there, and then we lived in Cincinnati for 24 years, and I worked a little bit there. I took some years off when I was having some of my kids. And I just did a lot of different things, different areas of physical therapy. But at some point, it was before COVID, I think it was maybe 2019 or so, I'm going to say. I had my quote unquote midlife crisis.
Fair.
I was working in a acute psychiatric hospital, which is an interesting place to work in
For
and of
sure.
itself. But I was their only PT, and I was taking care of whatever PT needs they needed. I was working with geriatrics and with adults, and it was very interesting. I saw lots of different things, but I felt like I was not doing anything skilled. I felt like it was just taking people for walks down the hall, sitting them there was no gym, like, it was all just very makeshift, like, I had a few, weights and things, and I would just kinda work with people in their chairs, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like anybody could do this. This is, like, ridiculous. I don't feel like I'm growing in my career, I don't feel like I'm learning anything, and some of the people were violent, so there was always that fear of, like,
Oh,
They could beat me
wow.
up," or fall because there were very high fall risks, because a
Right.
lot of these people had dementia and then like balance issues. So I liked it sort of, but not enough. And it was like 3 years, and I was like, I need to do something else, and I need to find something that is like a niche, something that
Mm-hmm.
I could really call my own, that I can really focus on and get really proficient in and help people, like really make a difference in a
Yeah.
real, real way. So this was my kind of life, midlife crisis, I want to call it. And more fate and God's hand came as crazy what happened. I woke up one morning and I had like a stiff neck. You know what people call a stiff neck. Could
Yeah.
not move my neck. It was so painful. And it went on for like the weekend, a couple of days. It wasn't getting any better. And then that Sunday, my husband, who was working in the school, this is in Cincinnati, he was doing a golf classic, like as a fundraiser. And in the evening, everybody comes together for a kosher steak dinner. Every year, he always wanted me to go with him. And every year I said, no, thank you, because I don't know anybody and I'm not interested in having dinner with a bunch of golf players. So this year, for some reason, he was like much more pushy about it. He's like, you're going to enjoy it. It's gonna be delicious. It's a night out, free steak dinner. I'll be sitting with you, and there's some really nice people that you're really gonna like to meet, and we'll sit with them. So he just pushed me. I was like, oh my gosh, fine.
Yeah.
So I got dressed and I went to this thing, and we were sitting across from a couple, and the husband was a chiropractor, very well known chiropractor in Cincinnati. He had like his own radio show. He was like a
Wow.
personality. He's a Jewish guy, Dr. Cohen, and shout out to Richard Cohen because he really, really helped me. His wife was lovely, and they were super, super friendly. And I was thinking to myself, my neck is killing. I cannot move. I know PTs and chiropractors don't get along, but you know what? I need help,
Mm-hmm.
like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a chiropractor. So, like, let's wait till we get a little more warmed up. And then I'm going to pop the question of, like, can you help me with my neck?
Yeah.
So, by dessert, I told him I had this little issue with my neck. And in his inimitable fashion, because he's a real personality, he like leans forward, like close to me, and he says, "Listen to my words." This is exactly how he said it. He goes, "Tomorrow morning, as early as 7:30, you're going to call my office and you're going to ask for, I forget whatever the name of the secretary was, and you're going to tell her that you need an appointment that day for me and tell her that you're going to get the family rate." And he says, "Do you understand? The family rate," which basically meant, "I'm not charging you."
Wow.
And he doesn't take insurance. He's like super expensive. I think he's like $400 just to like get in.
Yeah.
So I was like, I felt like this little girl, like, okay, daddy, like, okay.
Yeah.
So that was it. I went to Dr. Cohen for 6 weeks, I think,
Mm-hmm.
like twice a week, no charge.
Wow.
He took x-rays, he examined me, he did adjustments, he did traction. Like,
Good thing you went to that
oh my
dinner.
gosh, like he completely healed me. Okay.
Amazing.
Now, I'm not saying that physical therapy couldn't have done the same thing, but this was fate. And anyway, while he was working with me, we got to talking, and I told him my whole midlife crisis situation, and he put me in touch with somebody named Andy Lair.
Okay.
Another shout out. Another person who changed my life. He said, again, in his fashion, he goes, "Listen to me. You are going to call my friend Andy. Andy is the best PT in Cincinnati. And he's a good friend of mine. He owns his own place, and he's the nicest person you'll ever meet." He's like, "Call him up and tell him that you want to go hang out with him for a bit, see what he does, and just ask him if he has any suggestions about like a niche that you could take."
Wow.
So like, okay. So I call Andy, and sure enough, he's like, "Come on over." He was just like the nicest person. And I really had he owned a clinic, orthopedic clinic, and he did hips and knees and total knees and sports medicine and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He was very reputable, had been in business for 30 years. Everybody, all the like, sports doctors and everybody knew him. And he was just super nice and chilled, and hung out with him a little bit. I started telling him about my life and what I've done and how I'm looking for this niche. So he told me to speak to his one of his employees who was a PT. He said, "Speak to Helen." I'm like, "Who's Helen?" He's like, "Helen is somebody who got into physical therapy later in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also a mom. Like, I think you'll relate to her really well. She's probably about your age. And she does something called lymphedema, which is a specialty. So speak to her about that. Maybe she has some other ideas." So I called Helen, and another unbelievable person. Hi, Helen, if you're ever going to listen to this. So she did aquatic therapy and lymphedema.
Cool.
So she told me about that specialty. It sounded kind of interesting, but I looked into it and I decided that lymphedema was not what I was looking for. And then she said, "I have another idea for you." She said,
Okay.
"You need to look into pelvic floor."
Mm.
Now, you have to understand that when I was in school many years ago, pelvic floor, it existed, but we didn't have any classes on it,
Wow.
not even a single lecture,
Wow.
like nothing. So I didn't even know what it was, and I had all my kids. I didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started researching, and I was like, "Oh, there's something here. There is something here." And then I found through another friend, I found a, a pelvic floor physical therapist who worked in University of Cincinnati
Yeah.
Hospital. And connections. I asked her if I could shadow. She pulled a few strings to get me through because there was lots of red tape
Yeah.
to get a badge and all that. And I shadowed her for about a year.
Unbelievable.
And I fell in love. I was like, "This is what I want to do for the rest of my life."
Yeah. So what was it specifically about that niche that drew you in? Is it because you're a mother? Is it because you're a
So,
woman? Like, what was it?
right. So part of it was that I'm a mother of 9 kids,
Mm-hmm.
1 boy and 8 girls.
It's
Thank
crazy.
you. We were sure the last one was going to be a boy. I had everything prepared, a name and everything, but oh well. My Toby, she's
She's
adorable.
so
She's so
cute.
cute.
She's so cute.
But anyways, so I have 9 kids ranging from 30 down to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely had lots of pregnancies, lots of births, thank God,
And lots of recovery.
and lots of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And I have now 3 daughters who are married and have children of their own, and they've had their own stories. I have one daughter who had 3 C-sections.
Wow.
She just can't have vaginal deliveries. Um,
Side note, just a quick
yeah,
question. Is it true that once you have a C-section, you can't have a natural birth?
no, that's not true.
That's not true.
There's a
Okay.
thing called VBAC, which means vaginal birth after cesarean.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending obviously on each person, but if your doctor is familiar and comfortable and says that you're a candidate, you can definitely try for a VBAC. So, my daughter had her first one was a C-section, an emergency C-section. She was induced and then she had C-section. The second one, again, she had an emergency C-section. Her doctor tried to do the VBAC, it didn't go. The third time, her doctor is so experienced that he was willing to try for a VBAC after 2 cesareans, which is like
Wow.
almost unheard of, but they did it in the OR because they tried to do it in the OR, because just in case.
For sure.
And after 5 minutes, she tried pushing once or maybe twice. He goes, "That's it." 5 minutes later, baby was out,
Yeah.
3rd C-section. So
Yeah.
it's risky, but for a lot of people have done VBACs, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good question. So where were
Yeah.
we?
I'm not
So
a mom,
anyway,
but I have so many questions about
oh,
like birth and like
right.
how that
We could totally do like
changes
another whole
everything
podcast.
on you, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot. But so yeah, so the fact that I was relating to that aspect, I don't know, it just spoke to me and everything else, like all the other issues that we deal with. I just really, from watching, I loved the PT that I shadowed. I really liked her manner with her patients. I loved how she was very, put them at ease. And I learned I learned more from just watching her interacting with her patients than the actual material. I mean, obviously, I learned a lot of, you know,
But bedside manner.
material, but yeah, she was just so lovely with the patients, and, it can be very awkward, right? It's a
Yeah.
very, intimate,
Vulnerable,
vulnerable, and she
personal.
also worked with men, and she
Wow.
was amazing. Like, there was nothing awkward at all when you were with her,
And that's what
nothing.
you want.
Yeah. So I was like, "I wanna be her." I wanna be her
Yeah.
and then some. Like, I wanna be like this. I wanna make my patients feel totally safe and comfortable in my space and help
Mm.
them in a real way. It'll really impact their life. So
Yeah.
it was great. I mean, since then I've learned so much. Like now I'm looking back like at what she taught me and there's so much more, that she maybe could have done or should have done, but I mean, I didn't know anything, but just that manner, that interaction was worth everything.
Right.
Yeah, it
It's
was
really cool
amazing.
looking back on your journey to see how everything kind of led,
Oh
you
my gosh,
know?
it was such God's hand in everything.
I call it
Like,
like whispers of the
yeah,
universe, you know, like
totally.
being in the right place at the right time. Like, who would have thought a steak dinner with your husband would have
I
led?
was glad I went to the steak dinner.
Yeah.
And then, so after I shadowed, I was like, okay, now I need to get a job.
Mhm.
And I kind of like at that point in my life, I wasn't really willing to go into a hospital setting because it's very, you don't have a lot of flexibility. You have to work like certain hours, and I really needed a lot of flexibility
Yeah,
because
with
of
9
a lot of
kids?
kids
Yeah,
and starting to have grandchildren and living far away from them and wanting to have the flexibility to
for
just get
sure.
up and go to them if I needed to. And also, we have like a different schedule of the year because we have different holidays than
There's a
the
lot of
culture,
Jewish
and there were
holidays.
tons of holidays, and I didn't want to have to keep taking off, so I needed something where I could be my own person, but yet I needed
a good
I wasn't
income.
ready to just have my own business at that point because
Right.
I wasn't experienced enough. So I went back to my friend Andy Lair, the guy in the clinic who was so nice. And I had noticed when I was there that he had a little side room with a door and a
Hmm.
lock, and he rented it out to a massage therapist a few times a week. And I had in the back of my head, I was like, I wonder if I could rent it out the other days and just kind of use his space.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything, but I had it in the back of my head, like, I wonder if we could work something out just because he was so nice. Like, and he was like rooting for me. Like, he was on my side. Like, I knew he really wanted me to succeed for real. Like, he is a very genuine person. So I went back to Andy and I was just like, so I'm like looking around for a job. And I was like dropping hints like crazy
Yeah.
without coming right out because I wanted it to come from him, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, in the hospitals, it's like great. I get experience, but it's not flexible enough, blah, blah, blah. So he goes, it's like, it's so cute. Like between him and Dr. Cohen, they both spoke to me like their father. They're like, here's what we're going to do. I was just like, okay, tell me what to do. He
It's so
goes,
nice.
I'm telling you, it was literally like fell into my lap. He's like, here's what we're going to do. You're going to work for me. I'm going to be your employer. You're going to be on my payroll. We're going to do all your billing, your insurance, your documentation is going to be through me, everything. You're going to have to get your own patients because I don't get women's health. I was like, I'm totally fine with that. I can talk it up and I can go meet doctors. And he said, I'll even pay for your, like, if you bring lunch to like doctor's offices, I'll pay for that.
Wow.
You could put it on my
That's
credit card. I
huge.
know. And he's like, and I'll just pay you per hour that you work. Every client you bring in, I'll pay you for that hour.
Unbelievable.
I was like, are you serious? Like, I was hoping it would be something like that, but I didn't think it would be that amazing.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I'm
So
such a big believer, like when something is meant to be, it really
it
is
just goes.
effortless.
Yes,
There shouldn't be resistance,
correct. I
like when it's
agree.
the right thing, you feel it in your soul, you see how it just plays out, and it's
Totally.
awesome.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
literally, I felt like God was just holding my hand. So yeah. So I worked for Andy for probably 2 years. And then my husband dropped this bomb. Hey, I was just offered this really awesome position in St. Louis. So, next chapter of our life.
Hallelujah.
Yes. So at the
Best city in the
time,
world.
yes. So at the time, so we had been in Cincinnati for 24
Oh,
years. Okay.
wow.
We had lived in Israel for 4. And then we moved back to the States and I'm from the like Washington, D.C. area, Maryland.
Okay.
So we were already like in the Midwest for 24 years, and it was a really good life. We had lots of friends and a great house, and my husband had a very good job. But this was really an offer that I could tell like he really, really wanted it. And obviously, he wouldn't have done it without my approval.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't really want to move, and I knew it was going to be super hard for my kids because we had still had 4 kids at home at that point.
Yeah.
Um, I said yes right away. I was like, let's do it.
Oh,
And I was like, well, let's talk to the kids. We sort of told them they had a choice, but
they didn't have a
they didn't
choice.
really have a choice, which they still drive us crazy about. You said we could choose. Anyway, um,
Listen, you
at
gotta
the
do
end
what
of
you
the
gotta
day, I was
do.
like, we call my husband is called Abba at home. That means father in Hebrew. Um, I was like, listen, Abba makes the money for our house. Like, if without him, we don't have any house, we don't have any food. I mean, what I make is nice, but it's not supporting us. It's extra.
Yeah.
And
And also, in the
so
end of the
he needs
day,
to be happy
your kids are
at
gonna
his
grow up
job.
and move on with their
Right.
lives.
And also, like, I was like, you know what? You don't think you can do this, but you can. And it's a good thing to see that you can make new friends. You're always going to have your friends here and you'll be fine. So, um, we actually moved in the middle of a school year. He started at the beginning of a school year, and then I was gonna kind of like do this back and forth thing for a year, which
Oh, that's
fell apart
crazy.
really fast.
Yeah,
I was like,
wow.
I think we came here like 3 times.
That sounds really
It was
stressful.
crazy, and then we were all sick of it. Like, sometimes we would come here, sometimes he would come home, and sometimes we'd be apart for the weekends, and it got old really fast. So, um, by the time so he was living in an apartment, and, by the time, like, midwinter break came, we were just like, "Let's just move. Let's just do this." So, during winter break, my husband took my kids skiing, and I packed up the house, and we left. That was
Wow.
it.
Wow.
Oh, and our daughter got engaged at the same time, so
Wow.
it was a crazy time. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
But, it was actually kinda good because when we moved here, we had, like, so much going on that we didn't even have time to think about the fact that we just picked up and moved. Because we had, we had Passover, which I made, and all my kids came. I hadn't even, like, moved like, it was barely moved in, and I had to make Passover for a week, and then a wedding, like, the day after Passover.
Oh my gosh.
So,
It's
and
crazy.
that was like another week and a half or so. So, yeah. By the time the dust settled, it was already spring and like summer was around the corner and then we could breathe again. And
Yeah.
so the timing was great.
But meanwhile, your
And I didn't
practice.
work. So, right. So first of all, my boss, Andy, was really, I mean, we were both, I was disappointed just to like, because he was so amazing. So he was disappointed. I was disappointed, but I happened to have found a replacement. I wanted to leave him with a replacement
That's
because it
really
was
good.
nice that he offered this. It was nice for him also that now he's offering women's health because it's much more common, but then it was still not every practice offered it, and it was nice for him that he could say, like, "We also offer women's health." So I didn't wanna leave him hanging, but I'm like, "Who am I gonna find?" It happened to be
Yeah.
somebody from St. Louis who had moved to Cincinnati. She was a pelvic floor PT.
That's
So I
amazing.
begged her, I was like, "You need to take my job."
Wait, someone from St. Louis
Yeah. It
moved to
was Elisa
Cincinnati.
Ansier.
Amazing. So you guys
Yeah.
just
You know
switched.
who that is?
I don't know who
She's
she
from
is,
Chesterfield. Anyway,
but just
we
thinking the
literally
coincidence.
well, I didn't take her job because she wasn't coming from here. She was coming from, like,
Right.
Detroit, but she was from here.
But just the fact that where
She
you
had
were
moved to
going,
Yep,
the person was coming.
yep.
That's so
Isn't that crazy? So
cool.
I remember, like, begging her, I'm like, "You need this job. You're gonna be great."
She's like, say less.
And she did. She took I was like, "Andy, I got you.
That's
I got you a
awesome.
amazing." She's like me. She does all the things I do.
Amazing.
So that worked out really
What are
well.
the odds?
I
That's
know, it
so
was
crazy.
crazy.
The timing,
So
all of that. But now you're
so we
here.
moved here and I took off for a couple of months because I had this, Passover and wedding and everything. And then um so Jonathan Gordon, who is an Orthodox South African physical therapist who owns a
Yeah.
practice called RPI
He
here,
saved my
very
life.
well known.
In high school, talk about dance. I also danced like all the way from when I was a kid throughout high school.
Oh, wow.
I even in my early 20s took some dance classes as well. I really miss it actually. I still dance around the house, but
Oh, we should
whatever.
dance together. Okay.
But I overstretched my Achilles tendon.
Okay.
And I remember it was the craziest story because I was heading to dance practice actually, and I was in high school. And I had parked the car and I was like running across the street because I was running late.
Yeah.
And then my foot just crumpled
Oh my gosh.
underneath me and I just like fell in the middle of like north and south. And I like basically like rolled my
Oh
way
my
to the other
goodness.
side. And like, at first when you injure yourself, your first thought is, I'll walk it off.
That's right.
You know what I
I'll be
mean?
fine.
I'll be fine. But then, like, when a few days go by and you're so clearly not fine, then you're like, no, I
No.
need to see a professional. And, like, for me, it was a combination of like, girls are notorious for wearing shoes with absolutely no support.
Right.
And then
And high
that
heels,
high heels
which
or
make your Achilles super
flats
tight.
as well.
Yeah.
Flats have like no
No support.
support,
Right.
depending on which ones you get, which
Right.
I definitely had those
Yeah.
because they're the cute ones. And then, because who cares about being practical when you could be cute?
Of course.
And then also just a genetics
And
thing as
okay.
well. So it's a combination. Like he said, inevitably this was going to happen to me.
Okay.
Like he could just tell. But
EDS? Let me guess.
what?
EDS? No.
I don't
Ehlers
remember.
Danlos? No.
I
He
don't
didn't tell
know.
you that because that's one of his specialties.
It could be.
Like hypermobility and stuff.
It could be.
Okay.
I mean, it was
He's like
crazy.
really, really into that.
I had to be like in a wheelchair for a certain point. I
Wow.
was on crutches. I think the hardest part for me was that I couldn't shave
Ah.
because like the brace, and I was like, oh, this is so weird.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, like I'm totally
Did
fine
you
now.
need surgery?
No,
No,
thank God. So
just the
I
rehab.
didn't, it just overstretched. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, but it was really incredibly painful. And
Wow.
he totally healed
Yeah,
me.
he's amazing. Him and Jonty Felcher, they're partners.
Yeah.
So, more God's hand. So Johnny, his wife Judith is the
Hmm.
secretary in
The school
the
that your
school that my
husband,
husband was hired to be the head of.
such a
Okay.
Jewish thing.
So Johnny hears that Rabbi Travis's wife is a PT, and she does pelvic floor, blah blah blah. Okay. So they invite us for Shabbos. Literally, we had just moved there. I think it was like maybe our first Shabbos there.
Wow.
Maybe second. I don't know. That's Sabbath. I don't know how much you
I talk about
they
Shabbos
talk
quite a
about
bit.
Shabbos. Okay.
Yeah.
So we went there for the meal, and they're also African. So, Judith is like, Johnny, we're not talking about work. Do you understand? Like, okay. So, what did we talk about? Work. My husband talked about work. Johnny talked about work. So he's
It
like
happens.
basically hiring me at the table. And Judith's like, I thought you were going to talk about work. So anyway, he's like, right, right, right. I'll talk to her after Shabbos. So he kind of pressured me. He's like, you need to work for me. Come on, let's go. So I was like, okay, let me get settled. We have a lot going on after Passover, after the wedding. But yeah, I mean, I would love to for you because it would be really nice because, again, you understand, my holiday needs, my Jewish needs, etc. So eventually, like in May of that year, I started working for RPI. First, I worked in Johnny's clinic, and then after a while, I switched over to the Creve Coeur
Yeah.
clinic because they also had some women's health there. But in Johnny's place, they already had two PTs who did women's health as well, and Johnny's place didn't have any, so I ended up being their women's health person over there. Plus, I did regular ortho too, so I did a
Perfect.
little bit of women's health, mostly ortho, and that was almost 2 years. And then I really just wanted to do women's health, pelvic floor only, exclusively, because I just wasn't getting enough patients in that population, and I really didn't have time to go around and like go to doctor's offices again and do the lunch thing. Like I was working, so I didn't really have the time to do that, and I didn't really have the connections. So I don't know. Again, I got this one of those moments in your life where you're like, I need to just do my own thing now. Like I think I have enough experience between the year at UC and University of Cincinnati and, you know, 4 years working in clinics. And I think I'm ready to do this.
Wow.
So I kind of started the groundwork a little bit. I was still at RPI, but I was, behind the scenes, I was kind of building up, just getting my LLC and doing all the paperwork. I wasn't treating anybody yet, but
For
I
sure.
was
Just laying the
laying
groundwork.
the groundwork, just figuring it all out, doing the
Hmm.
research, getting my system up and running. So that when I actually started, I could just go.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I did.
So
That's
now
where I am.
ideally, I know we had already talked. When did we meet? Just 2 days ago? Or was it yesterday even?
Yesterday.
Oh my gosh, it was yesterday.
I think it
Okay.
was just
I'm like,
yesterday.
I've no
Yeah.
concept of
This is
time.
crazy. I know life is flying.
It really
So
is
fun.
in a good way.
I know.
But so yeah, so you mentioned to me that like now your target audience would be to do home
So right.
healthcare.
So I did a lot of home care in
Yeah.
Cincinnati before Andy. I did like 10 years of home care.
Wow.
So I was very comfortable in that world, driving around the cities. I knew the city better than my husband, and I have a terrible sense of direction. But I knew the city really well.
Because you were always
Yeah, I
driving.
was always driving.
Yeah.
So I was very comfortable with that. And then I was also very comfortable with women's health. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just combine these two things together and create home care based women's health.
Absolutely.
In this way, women, because again, it's a private, area, and a lot of people just are not comfortable going to a place, for the treatment, and this would bring it to their comfort, their privacy, your convenience, because I would be flexible,
Right.
um, and just do what I love. That's what I
So,
do.
based on like what you do, what is like a target audience? Like, what's the range of
Right.
who
So
you would be seeing?
officially I work with anyone 18 years old and so adult women.
Right.
Um, Medicare age, so 65 and up is a little bit different because I don't take insurance. So it's all cash based. So it's a little more complicated when you are 65 because I can't bill for physical therapy if you have Medicare or even if you're eligible for Medicare. Those are the rules. I can bill for things like preventative health or wellness, things like that. But it's different because I can't do any kind of like internal work or, a lot of hands-on stuff. I can just kind of
Right.
educate, which is extremely important as well. And I can
For
do that
sure. Yeah.
totally. People can benefit just from
Learning.
learning because there's
Yeah.
so much.
There's so much, and I feel
And
like there's so much about the women's body in general that's just not known and not studied.
totally.
This is gonna sound a little embarrassing because I'm 29, so I really should know this, but like it really was only 2 years ago that I learned that there was like within um your period cycle that there's the four different phases.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
The seasons.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just knew I got my period.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my life makes so much more
Makes
sense.
sense.
Life is fast, but every now and then you deserve a pause, a moment that's just for you. At Le Café, we believe that each cup of coffee should taste like a little bit of luxury. Handcrafted and locally roasted here in St. Louis, each of our single origin beans are carefully selected to give you the most unique and smoothest experience. Whether you like a light, medium, or dark roast, we got you. For those busy mornings, or for my coffee lovers who prefer efficiency, we also have K-Cups. So go ahead and pour yourself a cup that tastes like self-care. Visit www.lecafe.us to bring the cafe experience home. Le Café, you deserve it.
Yes.
And I'm like,
you
oh
can
my
you can
gosh.
even tailor make your diet
Yeah.
depending on what phase you're up to, what
Yeah.
what
And
week of the
your
month you're up
workouts as
to.
well.
Totally.
And like
And
because I
like
had a
set your
whole
goals for like,
yeah.
if you want to do something big, like, don't do
Yeah.
it on your period.
It's
Don't do it in
amazing.
winter.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even like the week before your period when you're
Yep.
your body's like starting to prepare and is like
Yep.
getting so sleepy. I'm like,
So
oh, I'm
crazy.
not lazy. I'm just,
Yes. Yes.
And then also like I think what was also because I'm also fascinated about like health in general. So like nutrition and
Yep.
exercise and hydration and sleep, all the good
Yep.
stuff that you're supposed to do
Yep.
that we all struggle with.
Yep.
But like your women in a sense are so much luckier than men because all we hear is like your period's like the curse,
Right.
right? But like I had a whole interview with another guest who's like really into like women's health and she's a trainer and she trains based on like around your period, which is so
Wow. That
cool.
is cool.
And
Yeah.
so she was saying that your period is like your report card every month. So I mean, obviously there's people who have real health issues like PCOS and
Right.
things like that, which
Right.
is a totally different conversation.
Yep.
But for the average woman who's just has her period and you're like, why are some worse than others?
Yep.
You can mitigate
Mm-hmm.
your symptoms of your period, how heavy your period is,
Mm-hmm.
all based on how you eat, sleep,
Yep.
hydrate,
Yep.
manage your stress
Yep.
levels.
Yep.
And then you could tell, like, how was this last month? Because my period's really painful this month. And it's just kind of a
It's
nice check-in.
so fascinating. And I actually a
Men
little
just get kidney stones.
I know. No, it's true. It's a
Uh,
blessing because women are in general much more in tune to their bodies because they have to be.
yeah.
I mean, Orthodox women are even more in tune to their bodies, but that's another whole discussion.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I actually was
Can I pause and share a little story on that actually?
yeah.
So there's this non-Jewish, um, he's a multitude of things, but at one point Steve Harvey, I don't know if you're familiar, he had like a
Oh,
TV
yeah,
show.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, he's the best. So he had this one time where he like this show, one of his many shows, I forgot which one. I just saw a clip on YouTube and I thought this was so cool, where he had married couples at different stages of their married life. So you
Hmm.
got newlyweds all the way to like married for over 50 years, right? And so it was actually interesting because the couple that had been married for over 50 years was a Jewish Orthodox couple.
Oh, wow.
And he said what's your secret? Because they were so
Cute.
adorable
Yeah.
and they were so like romantic and
So
touchy-feely and
cute.
in the honeymoon phase, like as just the
Like
same,
the young
but
couple.
more
Yeah.
so because
Yeah.
there was all that history and like
History. And they're so
love that had built.
comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. So the secret they said was actually what you were alluding to, which is in
Mhm.
like the Jewish faith, there's something called nida.
Yep.
So like when a woman is on her period
Mhm.
during the 5 to 7 days that she's on her cycle, plus
Plus a week.
5 days or 7 days,
7 days.
depending on the bleeding, the husband and wife don't touch
Yep.
at all.
Right.
Nothing.
Nothing.
And then she goes to the mikvah, she submerges herself in natural water, and it's
Yep.
like this whole beauty process,
Yep.
depending on which one you go to, depends on the city you live in
Yep.
and how nice the mikvah is.
Yep.
And then it's like a honeymoon all over again.
It's
And he
true.
said it saved their marriage so many times and
Yeah.
it kept the passion and the fire
Yep.
because they always say, show me a beautiful woman and I'll show you a man who's tired of sleeping with her. And so,
Yeah.
but that's because of familiarity
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Yeah.
So what Nida does, not that it's easy by any
Right.
means, not that I would know, but from what I've heard, is that it creates this beauty and this like passion
Renewal. Yeah.
within the
Every single
marriage.
month. Yep.
Right. And
It's really a secret
if you
we
can
have. Yeah.
attune to it properly during the Nida period, the couple can work on their spiritual, intellectual
Yep.
connection since
Yep.
they don't have the physical part.
Yep.
So there's a
Yes.
lot of beauty. And my grandmother was a social worker.
Uh-huh.
And so whenever our couples would come to her and they would like, they're like, the passion's gone. She's like, why don't you just not try touching each other for a week?
Yeah.
Like for real.
No, that's
Like,
what like sex
yeah.
therapists they advocate for that.
Yeah. It's so funny,
It's
you
like
know?
we've known that for thousands of years.
But I think that's what's so beautiful to me about like Judaism is like specifically talking about like intimacy is that, you know, it's something where when people think of religion, they think as strict and rigid and it's just doesn't allow you to enjoy life,
Right.
right?
Right.
But there's a reason why we have these rules. And I think the way
Mhm.
that we do it shows the beauty, creates, and when done well with the right intentions,
Yes.
it can be so beautiful for the relationship. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah,
Absolutely. You said it really, really well.
yeah.
And also, I just wanted to interject too. Another reason why this whole area of physical therapy made sense to me was because in Cincinnati, actually back in Israel, I became trained as a pre-marriage teacher
Oh, you
for
are?
young girls. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the
So
Kala teacher.
yes, so
If you know, you know.
I became
So
trained
is
in
Mrs.
Israel.
David.
Right.
That's so funny.
Well, we actually came, okay, we whatever. We have a lot of history together. So my intention of doing it in Israel was because I knew we were going to be doing outreach work in Cincinnati, and I thought, well, I want to be able to teach this to women who are not familiar with it, like even older women, like married women who just didn't understand this concept that you're talking about, the NIDA concept. So that was kind of why I wanted to do it. I was not intending to teach like 18 to 20-year-olds,
Yeah.
girls that grew up with this. But I ended up teaching everybody because there was nobody else because it was a small community. So I taught dozens of girls and women and older women, all ages, like literally,
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. So I was extremely familiar with, all this stuff. And it all just kind of made sense. Made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. And now in my new stage of 55, so now I'm in the next stage of life, and I'm like all into the hormones again and the perimenopause and the menopause
Yeah.
and the
It's a lot.
postmenopause is so
Just
much
when you finally
to
figured yourself
learn. I know.
out.
And it's like every stage is so fascinating. And
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you more about like what I've done so far here, but um, so I work with all ages. I do. I work with seniors. I work with, you know, 20-year-olds. And my like passion, if I were to pick my favorite, it would be like the pregnant postpartum mom.
Mm-hmm.
But literally I'll work with anybody. So
What are some like teasers of like things that we
ooh,
can learn?
there are
Obviously,
so many
if you want to
things.
learn, you got to work with her.
Yes.
But if we could just kind of get like a
So
snippet.
I like to keep things because I'm a very busy mom and I know that all moms are very busy.
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep it simple, doable, very manageable. and not overwhelming, because I know I get overwhelmed very easily. And when you throw exercises, not just like exercise for fun, but like you need to do these, like physical therapy, like a prescription. When you throw that into the mix, you just get like these glassy eyes back. Like, when am I supposed to do this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to fix myself, but I don't know. I don't have time.
Right.
So that's another thing I kind of throw in there is my understanding of how busy we are. So
Yeah, I
I
don't think
literally,
most people are not busier than you. I mean,
like,
being a
I
mom
have
of
no, like,
9.
I had a patient. Okay, I've treated a lot of my friends. So I had a patient in Cincinnati who was a friend, and I think she has, I want to say, probably by now, like 10 boys and 2
Wow.
girls. Or,
Wow.
yeah, I think
10
1 or 2
boys.
girls, like just popping them out.
Oof.
Okay. Her body was a mess.
Exhausted. Yeah.
Her body was a mess. She was completely exhausted.
Because
And
don't they
she
say that
finally,
like a woman is supposed to if you can, wait 2 years between births
yeah,
to
but they don't.
heal?
A lot of them don't.
Well, yeah, I
A
mean,
lot of them don't. And
sometimes you don't, it's not on purpose,
well, yeah, but
you
you
know.
can, whatever. You can do things about that.
For
You're
sure.
allowed.
For sure. But
You
God's in
are
control in the
allowed.
end of the
We
day.
are
Like, I
allowed.
think sometimes people have tried to use birth control and
Yeah.
it
If
still
you really
happens.
want to control it, you could. I mean, you're allowed to take birth control. It has to be under like the guidance of, the law, but I mean, we were always told no questions, 2 years for sure. Like, you don't even have to think about it. So anyway, not everybody does that. So she had many, many, many children, and she was falling apart. And she had no time. So I was like, can you give me 3 minutes a day? 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes a day.
That's manageable.
Can you do that before you go to bed? Before you get up before you get out of bed, maybe? Like, we're trying to figure out like which 5 minutes of the day,
Yeah.
literally, and just build it into your day.
What was it, like Kegels or
Yeah, whatever. Breathing, a lot of breathing. I do tons of
breath
breath
work?
work because, oh my
Nice.
gosh, don't even get me started. That is the key to everything, because your center, your pelvis, your whole core, from your
Mm-hmm.
diaphragm, even all the way up to your throat, everything it's a system, and it's a beautiful system. It's made to manage all the pressures that come into your body throughout the day, whether it's coughing or sneezing or lifting or holding kids or
Yeah.
groceries or laundry or blah, 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 or exercising or jumping or whatever we call them pressures, right? Demands. If you get this system down, and it does require some focus and concentration, I'm not going to lie, but if once you get it, it's literally a key to unlock so much healing. And I have taught this to so many people. And sometimes I give classes just because if someone either can't afford to come to me privately, or, they just don't have whatever, they choose to do something else, I'll offer sometimes group classes. Um, and if they can just get this, literally after a few classes, they'll come back and be like, oh my gosh, I already see a difference. I
Amazing.
already see, like, I'm leaking less. I'm running to the bathroom less, because
Wow.
I talk about frequency and urgency. And there's so much. There's so much. Things they're eating, things they shouldn't be eating. How much are they drinking? Like, there's so many
Wow.
factors. And like little things, little life changes can make huge differences in
Wow.
your symptoms and in your life, and you'll have it forever. And like, some people are like,
And breathing
how
is
many
free.
times do I have to do, like, for how long do I have to do these? I'm like,
Yeah.
forever,
The rest
till
of your
you die.
life. Yeah.
First of all, breathing is free. We're doing it anyway. So
Right.
just learn how to do it better,
Yeah, well, it will just calm your whole
and
nervous
it's right. It's
system.
super calming. You're tapping
Mm.
into that parasympathetic nervous system,
Yeah.
the calming system. And literally, I'm like, do it at night and then you'll sleep really well.
So true. You know what's okay? I have so many people I want to connect you with in my network because through this podcast, through being an entrepreneur, I have just met so many incredible humans of all walks of life. And something that I've really gotten into the past year is a lot of wellness,
Mhm.
not just health at the gym,
Right.
but also the wellness behind it, right?
Yeah.
So I've talked to a lot of breathwork facilitators. I've done the cold plunges, I've done the saunas. It's been so cool
Wow.
to talk to all these different kinds of people. So I have a few breathwork facilitators that I think
I really
like
want to meet them
would be
because
so
one of my
great.
other side jobs is I teach just once a week at the local girls' high school. You went to?
Yeah. Health
Very, very
classes.
small. I do their health class and it's 11th grade. There's only 8 girls, I think 8.
There was 8 girls in my class.
Ah,
Yeah.
and I teach them. So I personally teach the things that I know, and then I outsource everything else. So, I teach them all about posture and about hygiene, like hygiene and
Amazing.
menstruation. We talk about the cycles and
You taught them
the
that? Oh,
seasons. I
I
haven't gotten
wish
to
I
it
would
yet
have
this year because we've
known.
had so many interruptions. But yeah, it's on my list. And I teach them
Wow.
about pelvic floor, like very basic.
I'm so glad they have
They are
you.
only in 11th grade, but you know what? Let them, first of all, some of them don't even know their anatomy, and I make sure they
Yeah.
do because they're in 11th grade and they're already
Yeah.
menstruating, and there is no reason why they should not know what their body looks like.
100%. I'm
So
so
I
glad
teach
they
them
have
all that,
you.
and I teach them about posture, which is so fun because I have them take a before and after picture, and they put it in the newsletter of them like slouching and then standing up straight. It's very cute.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, so education is, I love teaching. I'm actually like a born teacher. Like I think teaching is definitely one of my things. So
Yeah. It's your
I teach,
neshama,
I
your soul.
educate a lot. And yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Because I know like part of what we talked about is obviously like the love of your life is also like the home health care, really
yeah,
helping women,
yeah.
helping them learn about their bodies, helping them heal their bodies, helping them go
Hmm.
through their pregnancies and birth
Yes.
and
Yeah. So it's
recovery.
another thing I do is birth prep.
Yeah.
And it's not a contradiction to having a doula. That's totally separate. Doulas do doula things
Yeah.
and they do pain, how to deal with your pain during labor and all that. I don't deal with that. What I do is I do like 2 or 3 sessions. It's sometime during your pregnancy. It complements what the doulas do. And I explain how, just for like the pushing phase, if you're going to have a vaginal delivery, how to best position your body and how to breathe to protect your pelvic floor
Amazing.
so that you tear less
Oh, wow. That's
and your
huge.
recovery is so much better. And then your
Yeah.
symptoms of pelvic floor stuff is much less. So it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's really amazing.
Yeah, because I
um,
mean, I know for myself, like God willing, want to be a mom one day, but there's just a lot to pregnancy and giving
yeah.
birth, and there's so many unknowns, and
Mhm.
genetics play a big thing into it, like
Yes,
how
it
your mom
does.
was and
It
all of
does.
that. But at the same time,
But
there's a lot of unknowns.
yes,
So if there's a way to like go into that being as prepared as possible so that you can be as healthy as possible, I
yes.
don't see why everyone wouldn't want to work with you.
Yeah, and I bust a lot of myths, like
Yeah,
like with birth, like the positions that they have typically put people in for birth are just the worst.
really,
They're just they contradict what you should be doing.
really, wow.
And also Kegels, the famous Kegels. First of all, what they are, what they aren't.
Yeah,
Who needs to do them, who doesn't need to do them. There are women that should not be doing Kegels because they're too
really
tight. Yeah. I just had somebody this
interesting.
morning actually. And she was super weak, but she was also tight. She was carrying tons of tension in her pelvic floor. I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
We need to slow this down and breathe and let your pelvic floor lengthen and relax and let go. And
Wow.
then we can strengthen you.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
that is something that people just don't know and don't
No,
realize and don't
totally
think
not.
about. So,
Because also, just as like
yeah.
women, there's especially in the age of like TikTok and Instagram, you have so many people who come on with such confidence and such authority that this is you
This
know,
is the answer.
this is the answer, this is the way,
Yes.
this is the best thing that I ever discovered. And then like there's so like yes, as women we're intuitive, but there's so much we just don't know
Yeah.
about our personal bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting all personal in this like episode anyway, so I'll put it out there.
Just
But
go for it.
like I learned recently that not all vaginas are the same. I
Oh.
didn't know that. Why would I need to know that?
Right.
I deal with mine and that's all I need to know. But I
Right.
was like,
No, there are a lot of
that's
differences.
crazy.
Yes,
That's
there's so many
crazy. So that
differences.
makes sense. So like your
Every
healing's
person
gonna
is
be
different.
different. So like
Every single person, and that's another thing, like, I don't know.
it's like a snowflake.
Yeah, I'm saying
Everyone's
like I think
unique.
that's one of the things that I bring to the field. Because you can go to a lot of places nowadays. You can go to hospital-based, pelvic floor PT, and they're excellent, excellent
Right.
therapists. Um, and they take insurance. But one thing I do have is I have time to give to people. I'm not limited by the clock. My one of my things is, why is it okay if you need a plumber and you call up the plumbing, Roto-Rooter or whatever, and they'll be there between 9 and 1. I'm like, why is it okay?
Yeah,
I don't have time
literally.
to wait between 9 and 1 in my house for someone who's going to unclog my toilet, you know? So I tell my patients, I'm like, look, our appointment's at 10, and I'm going to try my best to be there at 10. But I will definitely tell you if I'm going to be late. But I'm just going to tell you that if I'm late, it's because I'm giving the person before you a little extra time that she needs. And I can
Yeah.
do that because it's my own business. And I will give you the exact same service. If I have to give you another half an hour, I'm going to give you half an hour. People that have pain, oh my gosh, a session could be 90 minutes. A regular session,
Wow.
not an evaluation, a regular session, because we have to work through layers and layers and layers and breathing and stretching and releasing, and before I can even get to the internal stuff.
Right. It's so interesting
It's
because
like very, yeah, it's very individual. And
I
so,
didn't even know about your field at
yeah,
all. I didn't know this was a thing
yeah,
at
neither
all.
had I.
I think it's fascinating. I think it's so needed.
Yeah.
And like you're such a like beautiful soul. Like I feel
No,
like you're like the perfect person to be doing what you're doing. You're clearly doing like your soul's purpose. But it's just like thinking to my own personal experiences, like I said, I'm not a mom. I'm not pregnant. I'm not in that stage of life yet. But it's good to know that I know
even people that
beforehand.
have never had a baby, they might have issues. So,
Right.
literally, also
But even like the gynecologist, I go once a
right.
year to the gynecologist and like you wait like 30 minutes or whatever
Yep.
for your appointment. They come in, they do the quick exam and
Right.
then ask you a few questions and you're
And you're
out.
out the door.
And it's like,
Yeah. Now, PTs generally, because they're therapists, they're usually going to be a little more like take their time a little bit more, but it's not because of their choice that they're limited, meaning they're on the clock, they have patience, and
right.
they don't have that flexibility. And I'm all about flexibility. Like I told you, I needed flexibility in my job. I give, I have flexibility within my job too. Like I need to be able to give my patients, my clients, I call them clients now because it's my business.
Yeah.
But I give each client the time, the attention, the space that they need to reach
Yeah.
their goals and to heal.
So as a graphic
So,
designer, I love your
oh,
logo.
thank you.
And I want to know the story behind the
HomeCore.
name, the logo, and like why it fits with your business.
So it was another kind of like one of those moments that God just kind of like, this is your name, HomeCore. It just clicked. I played around with different things and it just said everything that I wanted it to say, because home, I'm going to your home. And core, it's like I am dealing with your core, because it's not just pelvic floor, it's your whole core. And the
Yeah.
core is your center and it's your powerhouse. And that is really what I'm dealing with. And I didn't want pelvis to be part of my name. It just is more
Fair.
refined.
Yeah.
So it kind of says what I wanted to say.
It creates that
And it
privacy.
sounds like home care. So
It
it's like,
does.
and I did home care for a long time. So it just clicked. It literally was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's my name.
And then it's like a
And
heart.
then my colors, by the way, my favorite colors are green and purple. And my
Nice.
daughter, hi Mimi, if you're listening to this, my daughter Maira is super talented, and she does a lot of my graphics. And we played around with different logos, and she kind of came up with this where it's a heart, and inside the heart is a home and another little heart. So it's just like,
Yeah.
wellness and care and home, and it just all kind of fit in. And then she made it be like green and purple. Some things are green, some things are purple on my,
Depending on,
yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, because we were playing around with blues and grays and all different shades and neutrals. Because I have another daughter who's like, "Ma, it has to be neutral, neutral, neutral." Neutral." And then one day she put in the green and the purple. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it.
You loved it. You
That's
knew.
it.
I really resonate
That
with
was
you
it.
because I feel like you're like me, where it's like when you know, you know.
That's how I met my husband because I dated over 30 men.
Oh my gosh, can we
Can we talk about
can
that
we
for a second?
talk about because
I dated for a long
I
time.
am a connoisseur of love stories. I
Okay.
collect them. It is my favorite thing in the world to
Well,
hear how
I
people
dated the
meet.
Jewish way, the Orthodox way, was
Yeah.
called the shidduch, and basically it's like kind of like a blind date where
You have a
you've
matchmaker.
never met before, and there's a matchmaker.
Mhm.
Happened to have been my brother and his friend, but whatever.
Honestly, the
Doesn't
best.
matter because that's the best. Yeah. My
Yeah.
brother had met him a couple years before, another whole story. But basically, I started dating right after I got back from Israel. So I was like 19. And I
Yeah.
thought in my head, I'm like, I'm going to get married right away.
Every girl thinks that.
Everybody thinks
Everyone thinks that.
I'm going to get married right away. And I was just starting college. I had 4 years ahead of me. And my mother was like, why don't you wait till you finish college before you? I'm like,
You're like, you're
Mom,
gonna be so
give me a break.
old.
I'm not going to wait till I'm 23. That's like so old. So I was like, you'll see. And also, when I interviewed for PT school, they literally said, you are not going to have a life. If you get into this program, you will not get married. You will not have a baby. You will not have another job. This is going to be your life.
You're like, watch
And I'm
me.
like thinking, just watch me. I'm going to get my husband. Anyway, everybody was right. So I dated the whole time. I dated a lot because I met people. It wasn't like, I did go to some matchmakers, but it was a lot of like just people that I met.
Natural.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
oh, I have a cousin, I have a brother, I have whatever.
Nice.
So I met lots and lots of guys over 30, and then I graduated and I still wasn't married. I was like, oh no, now what? So I was in Baltimore this whole time and I had been dating guys that were studying in this one particular, not only, but a lot that were in this one particular rabbinical school, and I thought I had met them all. And I was like, well, I guess it's time to move on.
Yeah, to the next
So I
school.
graduated
Fresh
in
meat.
July 2020. No, sorry, not 1993. I graduated in July. And then I moved to New York. And then I found my job. I found my little basement apartment in Brooklyn. I was going to start a whole new chapter of my life. And then I was like, you know what? I have all these all our fall holidays were coming up. And
Yeah.
I told my Methodist boss, who was very religious, and I said, you know what? It's going to be really annoying for you because I'm going to have 3 weeks of holidays on and off, on and off, on and off, work, take off, work, take off. Since I haven't started yet, can
Yeah.
I just start after my holidays and I'll be full time and, I'll be all yours. And he agreed. So I had 3
Wow.
weeks of pure vacation. And so I went to somewhere where I knew I wouldn't have any dates. I wouldn't think about dating. I went to my brother, who was kind of newly married. He had been married for about half a year, and he lived in this little town in Massachusetts. He was a rabbi of an old, old, old synagogue. Every single person in that synagogue was like 65 and up.
Wow.
Okay, so there were no eligible men
Bachelors
at
at
all.
all. Yeah.
And it was at their house that my brother and his friend found me and called me, and they were like, you need to go out with this one guy. I was like, well, if he's in Baltimore, I'm done. I moved on. They're like, no, you just have to meet him. Just one more.
Just one more.
Rabbi Travis. That was him.
Yeah.
And I knew. I was like, I knew when I meet him, I'm gonna know. I'm just gonna know
Wow.
because the people I dated were so varied. Like they weren't all one type. They were like
No, same. I
different
understand.
types, different schools, different
Yeah.
whatever. So that was my story,
Okay.
and that was it.
Love. I agree with that. I agree
Yeah.
with that. And I feel like that's why I think shidduchim, like being matched the traditional way, can be so challenging
Mm-hmm.
because everyone wants to know what you're looking for.
Yes.
And
It's
like,
putting you in a box.
and especially if you're
People are not
even
boxes.
within Orthodox Judaism, like
Yeah.
people don't necessarily fit a mold. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do you describe what kind of Jew you are exactly? And then as you kind of branch off from Orthodox Judaism, it
Mhm.
gets even more
Yes,
challenging
I
because
know,
then it's
because you're
like,
really not a box.
yeah,
People
especially
just want it because it makes it simpler. If you're like a matchmaker, you like
You're just trying to
I
figure
can
people
match up
out.
these 2 boxes.
Logically, I could kind of understand it, but in
Right.
the end of the
But it doesn't
day,
work.
there's that, as they would say in French, that je ne sais quoi,
Yeah.
that unspeakable quality that when two people meet, they just know, and it's an
Yeah.
energy thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's the problem with like resumes is like
Right.
you don't know till you know. There's
Mhm.
some times where like I've met people in real life where I'm like, if I had met you just as a piece of paper, I don't think I would have
Never
given you
would've.
the
Right.
time of day.
So true.
And then sometimes I met people where like the resumes or
It
like,
looks good on paper,
and then I met them
and
in
then you're like,
person.
"Nah."
And I had one guy who like, we had even talked on the phone before he came in town to date me.
Yeah.
I hope he's not listening. Oh,
You didn't say his name, so
I didn't say his name.
that's good.
There's been a few, so it's fine. But
Right.
he came in and I picked him up from the airport, and immediately I was like, no, this is not my husband. I knew right away.
Yes.
And then I was like trying while he was here to like have a good time and like maybe see, but like I'm the kind of person where I'm like you, it's a yes or a
I know.
no, and there's no in between for me. And sometimes people are
Right.
like, give it time.
Yeah.
I don't need
No,
time.
I don't
I
need time.
know.
This is a one and
When's
done.
your
This
birthday?
is called one and done.
When's your birthday?
November.
November. Are you a Scorpio?
Yes.
My
Are you
gosh,
also?
I'm an Aries.
Okay.
We're the opposites.
Oh,
I've been
interesting. Because
doing
I connect with a lot of Scorpios too.
yeah, so I'm an Aries. So
My lab
basically,
partner was a
they say
Scorpio.
that a Scorpio is like the water version of an Aries.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
both deep,
I just listened to a whole podcast about astrology, Jewish
really.
astrology, kosher astrology. You
Kosher
must listen to
astrology.
it. You're
Okay,
gonna
you'll
love it.
send it to me.
Anyway,
We
but
talked about so much.
so cool.
I know that we
We
could do
could talk
so
for
much
hours.
more. I feel like we'll definitely have to do a part 2 because there's certain
Definitely.
like topics that I'd love to dive
Yes, because
deeper
we didn't go so
into.
into detail about.
But as a first time podcast experience, is there
This
anything
is my first
else?
podcast ever.
I'm so
And I'm
honored.
so happy you asked me.
I'm
You literally
so
just asked me
honored.
yesterday. I'm like, what?
But see, this is what I'm saying.
But
You and
this
I
was
are like the
so
same type of
easy.
person because I'm
Right.
just like you, where it's like if
Yeah.
someone offers me an opportunity
I
and in my
know.
gut I'm like,
Let's just do
yeah,
this.
then I just
Yeah.
do it. Like just do it and don't think
Same.
about it.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Or I overthink things too much.
Well,
And then
that's
I
why I
get
gotta take
stuck.
action like really fast. So my question for
Right.
you
Yeah.
is there anything else for this topic, this conversation for today that we haven't touched on that you were hoping to touch on?
Let me think. I mean, I just want to say that there are a lot of different things that I do. I
Mhm.
work with people with bladder issues, incontinence, also like pelvic pain. So whether it's like pain with intercourse or um, any kind of pain, like pain, going to the bathroom.
Oh wow.
Also, bowel. I work with the bowel, so people that have chronic constipation or have leaking, like incontinence with the bowel, I'll work with that, as well as core things. So, like, there's this thing called diastasis recti, which is like when the abdominal muscles kind of separate. Usually happens with pregnancy, but it could also happen with other people. So I work on the core, but a lot of things go back to breath.
Wow.
It's like, to me, it's magical. Like, my goal in life, if I had one goal, is to teach every single woman on this planet, or at least in the country, or at least in the city, or at least in this neighborhood. Everyone needs to learn this, what I was saying before, like this coordination thing
Yeah.
with the breath and the rib cage and the core and the pelvic floor. If people could just get this, obviously some people need more, but if they can get this, it's a huge piece. And it's very
Unbelievable.
healing. So I'm happy to teach anybody that wants to learn.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
This has been great. So the base of this whole podcast is based on this Hebrew quote from Pirkei Avos,
Amazing.
which is "Eizeh Chacham Halamei Mikol Adam," which means one who is wise is one who learns from everyone. And I know we just brushed the surface, but I feel like I've learned so much from you from this episode, and I'm just like burning with so many more questions for like later on. I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone else is as well. But if you can leave us with like one last life lesson or favorite quote,
Breathing is healing, honestly.
that
It's
could be
like, I never realized any of this until like I started working in this field, but God created this unbelievable system, and we just need to tap into it and, you know, understand the power that we
Mhm.
have when we turn inward and we focus on just what we have already inside of us,
For sure.
and it can actually lead to a lot of good healing.
Yeah. And no matter who you are, where you are, how much money you
Right.
have or don't have,
Yeah.
we all can breathe.
True. If
Yeah.
we're breathing, we're alive.
Right.
If we're alive, we can do something about it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And getting religious for a moment, God literally created the world
with
through
breath.
breath. So
Yeah,
it's
and
fundamental.
soul, neshama,
Yeah.
breath, neshima,
Oh, interesting.
same word.
Wow.
Breath and soul are the same word.
Not to get morbid.
Shame is name. So your name,
Yeah.
your identity, your soul, your breath. So
Oh,
the
that's
same.
beautiful. And not to get morbid, but like
Death.
my dad did just die.
Right.
I think I talked about it in the last episode, but I'll talk about it again. One of my greatest gifts was that I was there when my father died. And I was there with him for 2.5 hours beforehand.
Wow.
And I was holding his hand and I felt his hand getting colder. I felt the breath getting more labored. I think they call it the death rattle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the last breath that you take. So like one tear slipped out and he took this huge breath and he was on a ventilator. So like it was still kind of going
Yeah.
after, but I can't explain it.
You
I
knew it was
just knew,
his last
I
breath.
knew the second that my dad was dead. I saw it. I knew it. It broke me,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the most beautiful experience at the same time. Also, because my dad died in the hospital that I was born in,
Wow.
which was like a full
Which
circle
hospital is
moment.
that?
Missouri Baptist,
Okay.
which is crazy too, because he's been in a few different hospitals on his whole health journey
Journey.
because he
Yeah.
had dementia.
Yeah.
He's worked with physical therapists, like everything you're saying, I'm like relating
We
on
could
many
talk for
levels.
hours because my dad has dementia
Oh, wow.
and he's going through it now.
Oh,
My
wow.
mom is going through it with him.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, we
Okay.
could talk about that some other time.
Another time, another time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, during Shiva, when a friend of mine came, her dad was just diagnosed with
Oh
dementia.
wow.
And me being at the end of the journey and hearing
Yeah.
her just about to go into the journey, everyone's experience is different.
Right.
Dementia plays out differently for everyone, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, knowing what I know now,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
It's a long haul.
wow.
It's
And
not pretty.
we don't know how long it is.
It's not pretty.
We
I
don't know
mean,
how long it is. My dad only had it for 6 years, which really,
so yeah,
in the grand scheme of
isn't
things,
so long.
isn't so long. But at the time, you don't know when it's going to end.
We're 14 years in.
Wow. See, that's what I'm saying.
14 years.
It's a long time.
And we don't know. He's like strong. Like his heart is strong. So
Right.
as long as he doesn't get pneumonia,
Right.
like he's good,
Right. It's a lot
So
to end on such
I
a
know. Let's do
dark,
something
morbid
like
note.
happier.
Okay, let's talk about you. Where can we find you? How can we support you?
Well, okay. So I want to be very accessible. So people can literally text me
Yeah.
on my business number. It's 314-390-9228. So 314-390-9228. Then there is email, which is etravis@homecorept.com.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it sounds, HomeCore PT, one word. And then on Instagram, which is at HomeCore PT.
Absolutely.
And Facebook, also HomeCore PT. Easy,
Unbelievable.
easy, easy.
Yeah,
So find
we'll
me,
share it all in the
text
bio.
me, message me, call me, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
here. Also, like I do 15-minute free discovery calls. If someone just wants to
Amazing.
like call me, get information, ask me questions about about my practice, what my, rates are, and if it's the type for them, I can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have
We're
a
gonna share
website. Go
all
onto my
the
website,
info.
homecorept.com.
Yeah, we'll share all the info in the bio.
Thank
This has been so
you. Thank you
great. Thanks for
so much,
sharing.
Nakama. This was awesome.
This was awesome. I'm so excited to continue working with you, to have you back on. I already know I want you for part 2.
Yay.
So this has been great.
Is that gonna be tomorrow? No.
No, not tomorrow. I work tomorrow.
Knowing you.
We
Like,
need a
let's do
little
it
bit of space. Well, guys, this has been another incredible episode. I learned so much. I know you guys must have as well. Please share this episode with a friend who you think could benefit. If you are not currently watching this episode, you can find the video on Spotify or YouTube. And I'm currently trying to grow my following on YouTube. So if you're not already subscribed to me, what are you doing with your life? Go hit that subscribe button, like, and share with a friend. I hope you guys have a great week. Let's get it. Let's go.